And welcome to the music theory of Super Mario Bros., a show that's hosted by me, your host Zane Carney, and viewed by you at home. Better be in your PJs watching this, because if you're on your way to work, you're going to be late. Gotta make sure to get to work on time, drink that coffee, have that orange juice. I do these streams live on Twitch. We have a blast. We learn together, and we do three things. We explore the psychology, philosophy, and emotions behind the composer's choices in iconic video game scores, OSTs if you will, and I will. We've done Zelda, we've done Undertale, we've done Donkey Kong, we've done a lot of great scores. Ori and the something. The blind one, maybe? Blind Force. Could be Will of the Wisp or whatever the heck. Who remembers? Not me. These games are so fun, and yet we haven't done Super Mario Brothers, the score that started it all. Yes, friends, the first video game score of all time. Not true. There were others. All right, so don't ever disrespect me like that or yourself. So Super Mario Brothers, obviously one of the most influential scores of all time. We're listening to a reimagination of it now. There have been many reimaginings. What we're gonna do today is dive into the harmony. Is it diatonic? Are there altered notes? And we're gonna talk about what that means using analogies. I might use some cooking analogies, some acting analogies. Got a lot of people out there acting the fool, and professional actors. Both. And we're going to explain why these songs make us feel the way they do, and we're going to guess why the composer made these choices. We'll also talk about when you're playing the underwater level, why does it feel like you're in water? We're listening right now. What is it about it that makes it feel like water? Consider this like Bob Ross meets who knows what. Music? I don't know. We're going to learn together. It's gonna be a blast. We're doing the first game. We're not going into Super Mario Bros. 2, Doki Doki Panic, all right, reskinned. We're not doing Super Mario Bros. 3, perhaps the greatest 8-bit game of all time. We're not doing Super Mario Galaxy. We're doing Super Mario Bros. We're doing Nintendo Entertainment System, because there are enough songs in there to last us a lifetime. And you can count on that. Where'd the music go? There it is. This is not just for music theory nerds. This is for people of all creeds and walks of life. I watch PBS specials all the time. PBS Space Time about astrophysics. Can I do an astrophysics equation? Can't do one. Love watching it. I watch hours and hours upon it. Makes me feel smart. I don't know how to do it. Music theory of gaming is similar, all right? Even if you're dumb like me, you can enjoy this. And you can count on that. Ladies and gentlemen, and others, music theory of Super Mario Bros. Starts right now. We're ready to analyze this score. We're gonna zoom out. Right, make it real nice. And we're going to title this right now, Overworld Theme. Overworld. And we're going to use analogies to discuss the music theory of this game. Great. No key snitcher. So first thing, let's write the melody, actually. Let's write the melody. The chords are moving rather quickly. So a lot of times when you hear a song and you hear a melody, the chords are moving much slower than the melody. So for example, if you have a song that's like, your song's like, I just want to make up a song, I just want to sing along, and I'm doing it right now for you. I played 3 chords, but my melody, da 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 da. Melody's moving a lot. Well, what if the melody moved with every note I sang? Like, or rather, if the chords followed it. Da, 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 da. If the chords kept moving with every melody note I did, it would be similar to what we're hearing here. So let's write the melody down first. Nice. There we go. And then a little rest bar, right? A little rest beat, which is drawn very sloppily. And let's find the harmonies underneath it. I never noticed that. Secondary dominance? Wow. It's D7? I never noticed that. Wow. Got it. Wow, is that what it is? I never noticed that. Very interesting. F sharp, baby. So, one thing to note right here is, to make something sound happy and kind of almost kitschy, which I would say this piece kind of sounds a little kitschy, what you want to do is what's called secondary dominance. So notice how the key snitcher for the key that we're in for this song has no sharps and flats. It's this. Straight up C major scale. So the F natural in that sounds like that. This note, as you'll notice, is F sharp. F sharp, so that leads us real nicely to this G. So part of the reason it's so happy from the get-go, you're just like, I'm in a good mood, I'm happy, is, you know, we have this note versus it could have been, but it's not that, it's, so we're getting a chord that's sort of sour, sort of kitschy, sort of happy, and leads us to the chord that happens before the song actually starts. So I never noticed that. I just knew this song makes me feel happy. So some of the stuff we learn. I guarantee there was at least some portion when Koji was writing this of like, this is a new game. We're trying to make people feel excited. We're not going to use the Phrygian dominant mode, which everyone uses this day. Have we not done many music theory of gaming scores with Phrygian dominant with this little dark The Witcher sound? So many games have that mode in it right now. No, this is like secondary dominance, happy, light, airy. So we're not going to analyze the whole thing like this. Let's go to chords now because we don't want to go overboard. Otherwise, we'll be here all night just drawing lines like this. But long story short, we have D7 to G triad, and then the song starts. So now let's start doing the overall harmony. A lot of times the harmony, in my experience, is what is the emotional content, like the backdrop, if you will. Like the green screen is placed, and whatever's on that green screen tends to be the harmony. There's so much chromaticism in this. I never noticed that. There's so much. Crazy. The fact that Koji Kondo dressed up this simple progression in such an interesting way, it kind of paradoxically proves the opposite point to what I said. You know, the harmony gives you the emotion, and yet the melody's so strong that these chords don't sound boring at all. They sound like, it's a very different feeling with all that chromaticism. Let's keep going. Not with you, Harry. Great, so it repeats that, obviously 2 bars. Great, we love that. And then I think the chords follow a similar pattern. That chord's interesting. That chord's very interesting. That chord's weird. It's like an add 9? What is that? It's just C sus, really. But it's also kind of F add 9. So just now when I said, what is that, an add 9 chord? Here's the problem with this chord. It's F, G, and C. So do some math with me here right now. Even if you're not into music theory, just do a little math with me. If we're in the key of C, this is our 1, right? Because it's C. It's the first degree. Like you just count up the scale. C, D is the 2, E is the 3, F is the 4. Okay? And then G is the 5. So F is the 4th letter above C. G is the 5th letter above C. Go to the alphabet. You know it's true. So if we're analyzing this in the key of C, we could say, oh man, this is a C sus chord. It just doesn't have the C in the bass. I don't think there's a C in the bass. Let me listen one more time. Yeah, there's no C in the bass. So the F is the lowest note being heard. So because there's so much C actioning happening in this song, so many C roots. There's so many C's. The mind kind of goes, yeah, you just had a C bass note right here. So like, I'm going to hear this as C sus. But on the other end, and this is why I said, what is that, an add 9 chord? Well, what if I analyze this as F being the bass note? So there's no invisible C bass note. Well, that would make this the 1. And then what's G compared to F? It's 1 above, right? It's 2. And then what's C? C is 5 letters above F, 5. Now this, if I take this up an octave, it becomes a 9. In which case, this is an F9 chord. I'm going to go with F add 9 on this one. And I think that's a controversial choice, even though there's no C in the bass. I'm going to call this F add 9. Because this comes up a lot later, right? When there's coins, there's a lot of that action, I think, maybe. Or maybe it's, I don't know what the coins are. We'll find out. Ooh, I never noticed that. There's some mode mixture in this song. Of course. Did Koji Kondo do Legend of Zelda? Because that's very Zelda, having mode mixture like that. Yeah, he did. Ha ha! I knew it, man. So that's why we say in music theory of gaming, we're doing the emotion, psychology, and philosophy behind the composer's choices. Because emotionally, I'm like, if he's going to go, if that's the bass note movement, which is very, listen to me. That movement, if you go in reverse, is that's Zelda in inverse. That's Zelda. Whereas Mario Brothers, inverted. So this is part of the fun when you're analyzing composers' choices. Okay, so this is good part writing, y'all. You can even see it. See the motion here? See this? See how this spread thing, right, becomes this tight little thing right here? See what's happening there? That's nice part writing. That's like classical part writing. That's like Baroque part writing. So you might hear this song and be like, oh, wow, 8-bit music is so 8-bitty. It's like, well, I don't know about that. There's no parallel octaves here. And there's also no parallel fifths. This is a great tactic. If you don't want to do parallel fifths and octaves, you want to write pieces for violin, for oboe, for flutes, and you want it to sound, to be frank, if you want it to sound like elevated and elegant, you want to generally stay away from parallel fifths, parallel octaves. On guitar, we love that sound. We love this sound on guitar. That's parallel octaves. Here's an example of parallel fifths. That's parallel fifths. We love it on guitar. Once you put it on violin and you're moving throughout the space and the violins are just like, it doesn't sound the same way on strings. So what you tend to want to do is, here's a good hack, make your bass movement inverted to the melody. The melody is, ba-da-da. So instead of going like this, that's this, why not go up? It's a very different feeling, much thicker, much juicier. It's a nice meal to chew on. By the way, if you like what you're seeing right now, become a patron. The handwritten Sheet Music Plus tier get these uploaded the next day. So you'll be able to look over this music and listen to your favorite songs from the score and have fun with it. How did I never know there was mode mixture in this? Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, right? Dude, if you would have paid me $1 million and said, hey, did you know there's mode mixture in Super Mario Brothers? I'd be like, no, there's not. Is that B flat 7 over A flat? Is there a D natural in there? Because if there's a D, this A flat changes its context. Let's see. Oh, there is. There is. Oh, God. How many times on stream have I gone, is that in there? And then I second guess myself, and 100% of the time, my first instinct was correct. So this goes real fast to a B flat 7 over A flat. Real fast, though. It happens in the blink of an eye for like 1/8 note. So there is a D in the high melody. There's a D natural happening as a little passing tone. So it kind of feels like this vibe. Right? Even though really the bass notes... That doesn't sound right. It's... Because... There's the D natural. Interesting. The bass note does not hit B flat, is my point. The bass note goes... It would, if I was playing this slowly and I was doing a jazz rendition, which we'll do after this, I mean, whenever we analyze the song, we jam on it, I would go like this. You know what I'm saying? I'd go A flat to B flat 7 over A flat. Ba-da-da. Also, don't forget the shuffle is going... There's a lot happening here, y'all. There's a lot happening. Now that we've analyzed it, we're going to talk about it. Let's start from the top. I'm listening through a few things, and I'm going to write these down on a list, and then I'm going to explain each one individually and how it makes us feel emotionally when we listen to it. Consider this like when you have a meal, and you're like, I don't know why I like this, and I maybe have cooked it, and I go, oh, well, I think you like the whipped cream that's organic, and maybe you like the strawberries and how they pair with the tartness of the blackberries. You're like, oh, yeah, that's why. I didn't know why I liked it. Now I know why I like it, and now I can make it for myself. So that's what we're doing here with Music Theory of Gaming, okay? So I'm hearing diatonic harmony. Here's the chromaticism. This. And right here again. There's a lot of chromatic movement. That's chromatic. Here's our mode mixture. We're in the key of C minor. We're in the key of C major. C minor, C major. So we're hearing diatonic thirds, chromaticism, mode mixtures happening. And now we're paying attention to the fact that it's swung. 1 and 2 and really it swung 16ths. Okay. Oh, this section, I forgot. Okay, so now we're going into the D section, which is very similar harmonically, except for the 5 chord comes where the 4 chord was. Also, this song is not in 440, so I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but that actually is part of what gives it the flavor. Yeah, it's a little flat, because I'm tuned to 440, man. I'm over here sitting at 440, having a ball, and just out of tune. It is flat, okay? That does something to the ears, it really does. I didn't know that. Why is chiptune music out of tune? Why is it not 440? Wow, interesting. The reason why that matters, we'll talk about all these in depth, but the cliff notes is, even if you don't have perfect pitch, I don't, we think we're hearing in grayscale because we don't have perfect pitch, most of us here. We're like, oh, I just kind of feel the harmony, but I don't know what color it's in. But really deep down we do. Because when we see with our eyes the color red, even if we can't name the color, like we don't know the name for it, we're still experiencing a vibrant thing. When we see blue on a screen, we're like, oh, it's so much because it's at the top end of the spectrum. It's like, it's such a high pitch visually. Whereas red's kind of low spectrum, which is ironic because it's like danger, but whatever. When we hear pitches, we have a reference point. We're like, oh, that's red. But if we hear this, it's like a muted red. It's like a maroon red. We're not knowing that, but we're just like, this is different. So perhaps that's why this song sticks out to some people is we can tell it's like A equals 432 or whatever it is. Also, can we talk about how that's a reggaeton rhythm? Like 20 years before Rihanna's single or whatever it was? Big Sean Paul, you know. Very different chords though. Reggaeton, you know, it's like an island feeling. I'm surprised Koji Kondo didn't write the music for Adventure Island. Remember that game where he's like on an island? But hey, you got plumbers. You got Italian accents in our minds, we're assuming. You got Koopa shells. You got a weird dragon dude. What the heck, lizard? What is Bowser? You got island music. It's like, how did this game become so iconic? It kind of feels like it was against all odds, but the gameplay is so good that 35 years later, 36 years later, here we are. I think we're good. I think we've analyzed the Overworld theme enough. What have we learned from this Overworld theme? How does it make us feel? Well, first off, this game single-handedly resurrected the video gaming industry. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but for those who don't, after E.T., the game for Atari, 2600, kind of tanked the industry. Other games did as well, but that game was sort of the final blow. They took all the games, they literally buried them in a huge grave in Arizona. Look it up, Google it. They ended up finding... link below to that truth. They ended up finding these cartridges like 5 years ago. Anyway, Atari, other gaming systems, they didn't have a clear vision. There was no quality seal of approval. As you can see on the cartridge there's a quality seal of approval. Parents didn't know if they could trust games. That was in 1982 or 3 or something. Super Mario Brothers comes, okay? They decided to pack in Super Mario Brothers, and it changed everything. This game brought the video game industry back to life. And this is the first song people heard with this iconic pack-in game, okay? So immediately, what do we notice in this piece that helped revolutionize the video game industry, bring it back from the dead? We had diatonic thirds. I bet you didn't think we'd be talking about that after that little history lesson. Mode mixture. Chromaticism. Swung sixteenths. It's not in 440, at least this recording we're listening to is not. What's happening here? Well, I guess what we're trying to communicate is this is a very multi-dimensional song. One would almost say, was Super Mario 64 the first 3D Mario game, or was this song? And the person who says that's a goddamn moron, and that's me. So, a lot of times songs are one-dimensional, and that's nice because we get to stay in a specific flow that's simple and easy to understand. Now, people probably think this song is very easy to understand. Well, let me convince you otherwise. Give me 5 minutes to convince you otherwise. So, a song that might stay in a lane, let's just write one now and let's make it up. It might be like... same key. Wouldn't that be so nice to have a song like this? The entire song, I'm playing chords from the key of C. All my chords are from the key of C. Very simple, 7 notes. You hear the same 7 notes the entire song. I'm just flowing through those 7 notes. I'm not using the 5 notes that aren't in my major scale. I'm not using those. No, I would never touch those. It's just all totally scalar. The chords are also from the key of C. There's no chromaticism. I didn't go da 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 da. That's a very silent film score, you know? I didn't do I didn't do any secondary dominance, right? We have secondary dominance in this song as well. Guys, he threw the kitchen sink. Koji Kondo basically said, I'm going to save the video game industry. I'm going to save it by having secondary dominance. You know what's going to save this industry? Throw everything at it, and they'll like at least one thing from it. So again, you might hear a Hans Zimmer score, right? And there might be some secondary dominance in that, but a lot of times it loops and stays in the vibe. Well, this song goes from secondary dominance right here, okay, to a whole bunch of diatonic thirds here that are not secondary dominant, to a whole bunch of chromaticism here, to some mode mixture right here. So let's explain these concepts. So diatonic thirds, all that means is we're going up a C major scale in this case, and we're going a third above that. So we're picking a note, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, one of those 7 notes, and just playing a third above it. That's diatonic thirds, baby. Here's what's not diatonic thirds. This is what's called parallel thirds. So it is diatonic thirds, it's not parallel thirds. Listen to how parallel thirds would sound. Oh, it sounds the same. It's fine, Zane. Let's do parallel thirds off the key, the scale of C major. The hell is happening? That's not right. That's me doing a major third above every note. So pretty, C major scale. Wow, nothing can ruin that. That sounds weird. So what we do is we go diatonically. We don't play parallel thirds above it. We don't go major third, 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 major third. We do a minor third if the key signature tells us to. Oh, D to F, minor third. E to G, minor third. F to A, major third. G to B, major third. A to C, minor third. B to D, minor third. Major third. So when you do diatonic thirds, you get a combination of major and minor thirds. Major, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. And it sounds pretty. Now technically, it's not only thirds, it's diatonic harmonies, I guess. So we're going, and then it comes chromatic right away. Right? So the chromaticism actually happens even earlier than I thought, even earlier than I remembered. So we have this fun little thing of diatonic harmony, okay? That keeps us happy. That's sort of islandy. That's sort of Hawaiian in some ways. It's sort of reggaetons, actually. What's the mode mixture portion? Well, that starts here. Okay, so what is mode mixture? Well, we've talked about this before in stream a little bit, but all it really is borrowing from parallel key. So remember Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past? Remember how you do some crazy stuff in that game, and you'd get this witch, and she'd give you a potion, and then you'd kill this knight, and then you'd use the Mirror of Truth, I think is what it was called, and you'd suddenly be transported to the same world, but it's dark now. It's nighttime, it's raining, it's scary, and that witch is no longer a witch. She's like a bird or something, and the knight you're fighting is not a knight. It's some old dude who's sad. It's like, wait, what? This is the same world, same geometry, same area that I'm in, and yet it's the dark underbelly of it, okay? So when we do mode mixture, what we do is we borrow from parallel major and minor keys. So we're in C major, and here are the diatonic chords in C major. They're pretty nice and happy. Check it out. So happy, so nice. But what if I borrow from the parallel minor? So I'm not in C major anymore, I'm in C minor now. How would those chords sound? Would they sound different? They sound very different. Let's compare them side by side. The major key C. Here's the parallel 1 chord in C minor. Here's the 2 chord in C. Here's the parallel 2 chord. Here's the 3 chord in C. Here's the parallel 3 chord. What? Here's the 4 chord in C. Here's the 4 chord in the minor key. Here's the 5 chord in C. Here's the 5 chord in C minor. Here's the 6 chord in C. So happy, so dark, sad, but so nice. Here's the 6 chord in C minor. What? So different. Here's the 7 chord in C major. Ooh, nice and diminished. Here's the 7 chord in C minor. So they're all different. So what we do here is we say, all right, we're in the key of C major. Check it out, y'all. We got a lot of C major chords. C, that's the 1 chord in the key of C major. G, well, that's the 5 chord. F, that's the 4 chord. These are so easy. Oh my God, this whole song is just like so easy to analyze. What? I said, what? I said, what? I said, what? I said, shlama lama ding dong, what? A little figure 8? What? There ain't no B flat chord in C major. Nope, it's in C minor. There ain't no A flat chord. There's an A minor. No, there's A flat in C minor. So what we're doing is momentarily we are borrowing from the key of C minor. We're not saying, oh, I'm going to go totally random right now. Oh, God. Random. No, we're not just going random. We're saying A flat, which is the 6th chord in the key of C minor. B flat, 7th chord in the key of C minor. C major. This again happens in Legend of Zelda in the reverse. Right? In my opinion, mode mixture in video game music, this is just my personal opinion, implies there's a journey you're about to go on. It's going to get dark at times. You're not going to be sure if you're going to make it through that forest that you're hatcheting your way through, but you do make it. But you got to try hard and jump on those Koopa shells to get to the promised land. You're going to have to fight for it. That is my personal opinion of what mode mixture does in video game scores. It makes you feel like, whoa, we're going to go somewhere. And it's going to be unpredictable. It's going to be unsettling. It's going to be maybe a little scary, a little challenging. But we will make it through in the end. Okay, so does that make sense? So the minor versions all wear an evil mustache. Perfect analogy. Exactly. That's hilarious and correct. You got an A on the test. Pop quiz, you scored 100 on. So what's another thing? Syncopation. As you've noticed, we're skipping a beat in the middle. Syncopation, when you're doing 1 E and 2 E. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, 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 ba-da-ba. We basically have 4 beats. We're skipping the 3rd one. So it's syncopated. So we're basically skipping this. Ba-dum, bum. So we're skipping a lot of notes. So instead of going... That feels different than... That's syncopating it. We're sometimes playing on the 4th beat of the 16th note. Sometimes we're playing on the 2nd beat of the 16th note. We're not just going da 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 da. We're like da 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 da. We're skipping beats. So we have that going on. Last but not least, there is secondary dominance in this song. So secondary dominance is different than mode mixture. We're not borrowing from a minor key. We're not borrowing from the parallel major or minor. I'm in C minor. Let's borrow from C major. I'm in C major. Let's borrow from C minor. No, we're not doing that. We are literally borrowing a dominant chord from any goddamn key we want. Oftentimes there is some logic to it though, because check this out. This chord is 5, 7 of 5 in the key of C. The key of C is the 5 of the 5, because in C the 5 is G, and this is a D. So it's the 5 of 5. Here's our 5. And it's the 5 of that. And then where's it go? Goes to 5. Oftentimes, secondary dominance will be like 5 of 5 going to 5. If it was a 5 of 4 chord, probably can go to 4. Right? Is the drum beat still in swung 60s, or would you call it syncopated as well? It's like a European 1930s swung. And I say that in jest, but America, created jazz music essentially in the 30s, 20s to 40s. And so it's, it's like before people had really learned what jazz was. Can you see how much happened in this piece? Like, no wonder it saved the video game industry. I hope you enjoyed music theory of Super Mario Brothers. Have a great night, and I'll see y'all soon. Love you. Bye-bye.